And here we are again in beautiful Butte, Alaska, home of the most scenic track in all of Multi-GP, the Jim Creek RC Park. It is the 2019 Multi-GP Global Drone Racing Series. This is the Alaska Drone Racing League Global Qualifier number 2, brought to you by ConocoPhillips. It is a beautiful sunny day out here as the track is being set up, and we do have a couple of extra spectators joining us from the edge of the woods. A few foxes there, a small fox family joining to watch how things go on the track. Speaking of the track, here is what it's going to look like today. It's the Multi-GP Global Qualifier track. This one's being raced all around the world. Coming through the timing gate, from the overhead perspective, we start going through a double gate. That's number 2, making an S-turn through gate number 3, and then into what I call the spaghetti maze. That's a vertical flag, making a 360-degree turn, turning back inside the flag to go through gate number 5, and then a reversal turn to go through gate number 6, straight through gate number 7, around another upright flag. That's flag number 8, a descending spiral through gate number 9, straight through there, and then the bottom part of that 2-gate complex is gate 10. The split S is 11 and 12 as the pilot turns course around through the chicanes. That's a kind of a wobbling straightaway as they come around to lap number 2. Lap number 2 is from the pilot's perspective slowed down so you can see what's going on here as we come through gate number 3 now into the spaghetti maze around the flag and into gate number 5, reversal of the directions into number 6, and one more turn to the left, a straightaway, a straight turn, straight through number 7 into the descending spiral around flag number 8. Now this descending spiral will set you up for that 2-gate complex straight ahead. That's gate number 10 on the bottom. 2 on the top, as you remember, going the opposite direction, so a little bit of possibility for crisscrossing traffic. Here is the split S. The pilot missed. Turn around, flip around, change directions all at the same time, turn back around, get onto the chicanes, and now full speed as the pilot comes around this part of the track. Keep in mind that the pilots will need to complete 3 laps to get any kind of a time to qualify for a global time. So anything less than 3 laps is a no finish. So that's what we're going to be looking for. There's the landing on the starting blocks, and this is our first group of pilots getting ready to go for round 1, heat number 1. In seat 1, it will be FPV Slacker. That's Mark Slack from Anchorage, Alaska. In seat 2, the star of the Alaska Drone Racing League, it's David Spencer from Anchorage, Alaska, coming in with 166 season points. He's pretty much cleaned up everything he's raced in this season. Seat 3, Foggy Minded FPV, that's Josh Erickson from Wasilla, Alaska, Pop FPV. And seat 4 is Billy Adderton. He's brand new to the sport. This is his first race for Alaska Drone Racing League. In fact, this will be his very first race ever competitively, so a big one to come into as we wait for Wes Frymouth, the race director, to call the race. Looks like we got all the goggles down, and we're just about ready.
Pilots ready, thumbs up please. All right, we got 4 thumbs up. Let's race on the tone.
Waiting for the tone now. And we've got 4 quads into the air, clean start, and right off the bat, it's FPV Slacker, whose video feed seems to have gone away. He does look like he may be seeing something where we're not, so maybe our ground station. Looks like he is flying, so everything seems to be kosher for him. And on the bottom right, Pop FPV has found the dirt. He's upside down. You can see the silhouette of his plane on the ground, his arms up in some kind of triumph there. So he's down on the ground, and it's FPV Slacker as well. You can see that bad video feed. He's got some rocks silhouetted in his scratchy feed. So right now it's Hazard FPV and Foggy Minded FPV. These 2 pilots are our 2 leaders right now, points-wise, going into the season. Hazard FPV with 166. Foggy Minded's got 106 right now, starting on the race. Hazard FPV coming in with a time of 17.297 on that last lap. He's not going to be too happy with that. That's a very slow lap for him. Anything greater than 14 seconds, he's going to want to throw away. In fact, 13.3 is going to get him on the top 25. We're going to want to see some times coming from Hazard FPV that are just like that. And he's into the gate and into the dirt. So that is going to be a throwaway lap for him. He's with 40 seconds left. He's going to need 3 more laps under his belt, and even at 13 seconds per lap, I don't even think that's possible. So this one may be a throwaway for him. Foggy Minded right now on pace for 5 laps, as Hazard is still on pace for 7. Foggy Minded coming through the chicanes, and it looks like a pretty clean race for him right now. Hazard FPV has parked his quad, so I guess he's done with his race right now. He's going to put up his goggles and walk away. It's just Foggy Minded FPV left out there with 6 seconds left, and he gets in the trouble right there on the, I think it was the split S. It was a double gate complex. Indeed it was. He's coming through the chicanes now, and he will finish his race with 5 laps there, and he will not do the walk of shame, as well as he will land on the landing spot. So 4 starts, 2 finishes. We'll check and see those times here in just a moment. The race is now completed. The computer will be tabulating times going forward. And pretty good race, but before we go to that, it's round 2, heat number 2. Let's introduce the pilots on this one. Seat number 1 is FPV Drift. That's Wes Frymouth from Eagle River, Alaska. In seat 2, it's AK Drones. Ryan Martin coming in with 58 season points here. Seat 3, AK Honky John Sam from Chugiak, Alaska. And in seat 4, it's Davrick FPV. Brand new this season. In fact, he's only had 2 races. The first of the 2 was the previous Global Qualifier. On this one, he's going to be looking just to get 3 laps under his belt. And if he can do that, he will have a legitimate global, a world score for himself. So all the goggles are down, and we're just waiting for the race director and a tone. There's the tone, and 4 quads once again into the air. You can see in Davrick's picture another quad out there. I'm not sure who that one was. We're going to wait to see what kind of times. And right away, AK Drones is running the trouble. He's got his goggles up, and he's going to walk away in disgust, I'm thinking. So he's stuck up in a flag there, and that's going to be very disappointing for AK Drones, as he's looking to keep increasing his best time of 56.286. So hearing a little bit of clashing of metal bars and or PVC pipes, I should say, and netting out there. That looks like AK Honky is having trouble in one of those flags as he brings his way around through the split S and into the chicanes. Davrick FPV still up in the air, looking good right now. AK Honky now on pace for 3 laps. He's got to be happy with that, because AK Honky's still looking to get 3 laps down to get himself a Global Qualifier score as well. FPV Drift still being, actually FPV Drift last week at 2:53.313, so he's got to be looking to improve on that. AK Honky now joining AK Drones in the net out there, and he'll be lucky to get that extricated. We'll come back to him if he does. Now it's FPV Drift and Davrick FPV out on the course. Davrick FPV with 35 seconds left to go, hunting for that split S. He goes wide, he corrects himself, gets it back around. All he needs to do is 27 seconds to get through that chicane, and he will be on to his 3rd lap. The adrenaline's got to be flowing for him right now. He'll get a Global Qualifier time. Indeed, he is on his 3rd lap now. We'll keep an eye on him to see how he does. He needs to stay in the air and get that through the start gate one more time. FPV Drift, meanwhile, making his way through gate number 10 and into the split S, 3, 2, 1. So he's going to be done at the end of this one as Davrick comes around flag 8. Looking like some clean lines into the split S, where he had a little trouble before, and he does hit the gate. And he recovers. Good job, Davrick. He stays with it just to get through these chicanes right here, and his lens is getting blurry. His lens is getting blurry. I'm not sure if that's the sweat pouring down before his eyes, and he gets through the gate. There he goes, 25 seconds beyond the 2 minutes. Davrick FPV gets a legitimate world score. Congratulations, Davrick FPV. And FPV Drift, we'll have to see what he gets with his time to see if he beat his previous score. So a small triumph right there for Davrick. Congratulations to him. As soon as the scoring computer finishes its thing, we'll have some scoring for you to tell you where we are in this round. It does take a few minutes to tabulate all this stuff.
3. Race order is Mr. Geek FPV, FPV Maverick,
And we'll just see.
Princess, Rim.
We'll just see what we get here. Waiting for the computer to bring its stuff up as the pilots go get their quads. We do have some results now. It's Davrick FPV, a time of 2:09.569. The only one to finish in that particular one. I guess FPV Drift did not finish 3 laps. So Hazard FPV right now on top of round 1 with 50.401. He's not going to be terribly happy with that time. That'll be a throwaway. Foggy Minded 108.048. Also for him, he needs to beat a 101.781. So no boosts on previous runs from 2 weeks ago for any of these pilots, except for Davrick, who has now got a qualifying time. So there is Group 3 out there setting up, at least some of them in Group 3. Getting ready to get their quads put together. And let's meet who's flying in this round 1 Heat 3 race. Seat 1 will be Mr. Geek FPV. That's Buckley Clark from Anchorage, Alaska. And he's in a season with 106 points. He's up there. Seat number 2, FPV Maverick, last season's champion. That's William Thomas. Having a little bit of trouble this year. He has got some fast times, but not as many points. Pink Princess in seat 3. That's Brooke Frymuth from Eagle River. And in seat 4, it's Rim. That's Ryan Durbin. He is in his first season with us, and both Pink Princess and Rim still looking to get those 3 laps under their belt. I did talk to Rim a little bit earlier today, and that indeed is his goal. I'm sure that's the same as Pink Princess, is to get those 3 laps and also get a legitimate 3-lap world's qualifying time. So we're going to be looking at them to get their race on, and the goggles are down. We're looking at thumbs up. What race director Wes Frymuth is calling for the scoring computer now, waiting for a tone. There's the tone. I see 4 quads, 3 quads into the air, and it's Pink Princess tumbling backwards off the block. Not sure what happened there. She got it up into the air and it back, and now it's FPV Maverick into the dirt and Mr. Geek into the dirt. It's destruction, folks. There's 3 pilots into the dirt. It's just Rim up in the air right now. Looks like Mr. Geek's the only one trying to get it back up into the air, and it looks like he does. So 2 pilots still racing. It's Mr. Geek and Rim as we get through looking to finish that first lap. Rim kind of bumping around on the ground. He's going to take it kind of easy here just to make sure he gets himself 3 laps. It may not be some clean lines, but he is going to do what he can to get that quad through the gates he needs to. Meanwhile, it's Mr. Geek out there making his way around into the spaghetti maze, changing directions. A nice looking clean line right now. This will kind of be a throwaway. And he just about hits Rim as he goes by. He kind of backs off from that. It surprised him. In fact, not sure what's happening there. He's parking his quad, and at the same time, Rim gets hung up in the gate out there. So not sure what's happened out there. We'll have to check back with Mr. Geek to see what's going on. Maybe a problem with his motors. I did hear some whining out there. So 4 starts, nobody finishes. I'm not even sure if we got a lap on that one. So here's your results. Hazard FPV with 10 points. Foggy Minded 8 on the season. Davrick FPV, because of that last one, will pick up 6 points on the season. So not only does he get a World Global qualifying time at 2:09.569, he also picks up 6 points, just under his dad, Foggy Minded FPV, there with a 2:08.048 and 8 points on the season. So that is the round 1 scores. What a beautiful day out here at the Alaska Drone Racing League's Jim Creek RC Race Park. You'll see the sky's a bit washed out. That's because we're exposed for the ground, but there are no clouds in the sky. So on to round 2, heat number 1 we go. FPV Slacker also still looking to get a best time out there. He's laid down one before of 2:25.715 yesterday, but nothing today. Hazard FPV, today's 50.401 is not going to be enough to bring him forward. Same with Foggy Minded FPV. Those are both throwaway times for him. Pop FPV, still looking to get 3 laps under his belt, so we'll see how that goes for him as we are all out at the starting podium right now. replacing our quads, and it looks like Pop FPV's video is still yet to come up. We have 3 good videos, and there's Pop FPV now. A little late to the party, but he's getting his quad put together. Kind of discussing thing. He is a little bit new to the sport, so it takes a little extra time, which is fine. We want to encourage everybody to come on out and try their hand at this. There's no pressure at all. There's a look under the big top here where all the other pilots are shining up their quads, wiping out the dust, exchanging trade secrets, and getting things put together for their next race as our Group 1 now returns to the flight line. So left to right, it's FPV Slacker, Hazard FPV, Foggy Minded FPV, and Pop FPV now plugging in. He's got a cord of some type, and maybe he's got a DVR in there. I see a big long cord, so he's going to record this attempt here. 3 pilots with their goggles on. Now we have 4.
Thumbs up when you're ready.
And race director Wes Frymouth now will call the race.
All right, we have 4 thumbs up. Let's race on the cone.
No, that was kind of fire.
Tone sounds, and at least 3 quads in the air. It's Pop FPV who remains on the block. So something happened there. He did have his video up a little bit late and wasn't able to get his quad to go fly. So maybe he, don't know, maybe didn't get it armed all the way or something went on. Anyways, we're going to look at Hazard FPV, who's already finishing his first lap. That's a 16.366. Still not where he wants to be on that one. He's wanting to get under 14, really. I mean, he's to beat his best time, he's going to need to get under 14 and a half at least. And then Hazard FPV just goes flying by FPV Slacker on his camera. Foggy Minded getting into a little trouble. He's flying up into the air to get reset as well. Meanwhile, Hazard FPV looking a lot cleaner this time, if not a little bit slower than what he's been doing. These are some clean lines right here. So another 16-second lap for him. Still not quite on par with where he wants to be. Foggy Minded through the split S now. And he'll be on to, I believe this will be his 3rd lap. That was I didn't see his lap time. So he's on pace for 4 with 44 seconds left to go in this race. Hazard FPV still whipping it out there as you see those gates flashing by his camera on the FPV view there. And boy, I don't really have respect for these guys that can do these tracks this fast. It is quite something to behold. That's some agility out there. So let's see what his time is on this one, if it does give it to us. The last one was a 15.755. That was his fastest one so far. With 14 seconds to go, he's got one more lap to pull off before that's the end of his race. It looks like he's going to do his best to complete that before the clock expires and even get one more in if he wanted to. Pace of 8. He says, nope, that's enough. I'm going to rest my motors. I'm happy with what I've got. So goggles up for him with 2 seconds past the chime. It's FPV Slacker and Foggy Minded FPV still out on the track. FPV Slacker into the descending spiral straight ahead and through gate number 10. As Foggy Minded FPV is also through, and he'll land in the landing zone, finish for the day. And it's just FPV Slacker now out on the track. Not too far behind there, coming through the chicanes. He's looking to beat a time of 2:25.715. So he does finish his race, and he'll gently drop it down into the landing zone. Nice job, FPV Slacker. And that is the end of round 1, round 2, heat number 1. Sometimes it's hard to say that with all those numbers going back and forth, you know. So we're just going to wait for the computer to tabulate up all these scores, and indeed there it is. Hazard FPV bringing in a 46.916, still not enough for him. Foggy Minded coming up 2 seconds on his 106.196, still not enough for him though. He still needs to beat that by another 5 seconds. FPV Slacker a 2:21.672. That is going to bring him up, so that's a better time for FPV Slacker. Good job out there in getting a faster time than previous. Seat 1 is FPV Drift. AK Drones in Seat 2. It's the same group all the way through. AK Honky John Sam still looking to lay down 3 laps out here. And Daverick FPV, the superstar of round 1 on that one, with a 2:09.569 with 6 points on the season now. We'll look at him to see if he might be able to beat that time. and continue to rise in the rankings here at the Alaska Drone Racing League. We've got goggles down, thumbs are up, and waiting the tone sounds, and you see the dust fly as 4 quads leave the start gate. Everybody getting away clean. Looks like Davrick has got his lens now unsmudged. Maybe he hit a bug out there. I'm not sure what happened. AK Honky now in the dirt there. So AK Honky having a tough season. He wasn't able to get his quad flying in the first qualifier. And on this one, so far, no points either. So keep an eye on AK Honky. We'll kind of put a little rally cap on for him as we watch Davrick make his way around the course and ends up backwards in the dirt and upside down now. So he's in a bit of trouble out there. AK Drones, meanwhile, looking good out there. He's wanting the best. His score of 56.286, a very impressive score for him in his second AK DRL season. A long way he's come since last year, and we're proud of his progress as well. So looking to see if AK Drones might be able to pull out a faster lap and improve his time. He's certainly in the sub 1 minute category right now. And AK Drones meets the fate that he doesn't like. In fact, it's not responsive, and he's going to be real disappointed. He's going to walk out of his chair and put up his goggles. So right now it's FPV Drift and AK Honky out on the track, battling it out to get those 3 laps done. So AK Honky is on lap 2, FPV Drift on lap 1 still, it looks like, and with 23 seconds left to go on the race, looks like FPV Drift isn't going to be able to get 3 laps in. He'll just try to keep that streak going and get himself back through the start gate so he doesn't have to do a walk of shame, as AK Honky may get 1 more lap here. He's going to want that one to get 3. Indeed he does. So he's on to his 3rd lap, and this one's going to be important for him as he overflies the gate there and now into the spaghetti maze. So AK Honky now we're going to be looking at to get through this course. He'll have a 3-lap time here, and this is something that's going to be important for him to get his name in the ledger for the races as well. Into the split S he goes. Not too bad. A good turn there, and on into the chicanes he goes. Left, right, and all he needs to do is hit the start gate. Bang! There goes AK Honky with 3 laps. A little celebratory loop for him, and he will be on the scoring box as well. Good job, AK Honky. And we'll see what those times are for him. So any time he gets is going to be his best time, as there it is, 2:27.006. So congratulations, AK Honky. He's going to be in the board here. There's where we stack up as of the round 2 results. Hazard FPV continuing his sweep of the season. Foggy Minded picking up 8 points. FPV Slacker will be happy to have picked up 6, beating AK Honky's score by about 6 seconds. So those are your 4 pilots finishing in round number 2. In fact, round 2 is not yet over, folks. So that's just a preliminary look at where we stack up. Mr. Geek plans on being a spoiler, and we just heard that Pink Princess is also going to be out on this one. So right now it's going to be Mr. Geek, FPV Maverick, and Rim out there on the track. So both Mr. Geek and FPV Maverick hope to play spoilers. Neither of them today have gotten a 3-lap score yet. Mr. Geek's best is a 57.487, and FPV Maverick a 52.632. About 5 seconds spread between them, and let's keep in mind that Rim is now the next guy in line for us to root for to get that 3-lap total and get his name in the ledger books for world rankings. So the empty seat will be Pink Princess's chair. It looks like maybe she's had trouble with her quad. As you recall, in the last round, she did lift off and go backwards off the block. So race director Wes Frymouth got the thumbs up, calling the race. And 2 quads into the air smartly, 1 gingerly. I believe that'd be Rim, gingerly into the air, but they're all into the air. Indeed, FPV Maverick no longer is. And neither is Rim. They're both down in the dirt right now. So right now it's just Mr. Geek FPV. FPV Maverick has thrown his goggles up onto his forehead, so he's done. So solo show right here for Mr. Geek. Let's all observe his techniques, folks, shall we? So Mr. Geek threw his first lap going in through gate number 1, 2, and 3. And a strange direction of course to take there now, around through the spaghetti maze, straight through number 7, around flag 8, and in through 9. So good clean lines, in trouble in the chicane, in the split S, but he recovers. Nice job, folks. Nice job, Mr. Geek, making a recovery. That's going to bite into his time a little bit there, but otherwise a nice clean lap there as he's back around on the lap number, was a 22.873. So he's on lap 2, on lap 3 now. He's got 2 behind him. Through the split S and into the chicanes. This will be the bunny lap. He's going to have this one under his belt pretty much regardless right here. 40 seconds left to go. That's the thing, is if you're laying down 5 laps, lap number 3 is always going to count. And oh my goodness, there is destruction right there. He's hit the flag, spun out, and there's not a lot of response from his quad. He's doing his best, arming it, disarming it, and now he's upside down. 18 seconds left, and he's going to wave it off. So I think he did get 3 laps there, though, so he will get a time. I'm guessing that's not going to be one he's going to want to put into the ledger, as 57.487 is his best. However, he may have enough time to leapfrog in the season points, as FPV Maverick was out. So there it is, Mr. Geek with 3 laps, a 1:12.943. Indeed, that will put him up in the season standings there. We'll see if we can get that graphic for you. There it is, that after round 2, Mr. Geek pushes FPV Slacker and AK Honky down a notch, and just finishes just behind Foggy Minded by about 6 seconds. So Foggy Minded really coming along nicely from last year as well, because Mr. Geek was definitely one of our fastest pilots out there all year last year. So, and yeah, there's the update in times. So that's the race day standings. Okay, that's where I was confused. So the race day, we've got Hazard FPV up on top. There's your times for the day, the best ones of the day. And AK Honky is really the only one that's got a bested time there. Here's your top 25 in multi-GP. You can see from 1 to 25, you got to get under 43.3 to hit that top 25. And looking at the division on that one, 13.3 seconds is what you need to get onto that board. So really Hazard FPV in the pink shorts out there, he's the one out here that has the potential to be able to do it, and we're hoping that he can pull that off. We'd like to see him go out there and show some really big times out there in the world stage. So round 3, heat number 1, it's group number 1 back up again. FPV Slacker with season points of 20. Hazard FPV is now up to 186 on the season. Foggy Minded FPV crawling up behind him there, probably out of contention on the season for first place, but definitely in the battle for second at that 120 point. But right now, it's not about season points, it's about posting times for the multi-GP Global Qualifier course world rankings, folks. In the top 200, you get to go to the world championships out there. I believe it's going to be in Florida. It's just announced recently. I'm not sure of the dates, but these guys are vying to hit Florida in, I believe, November. And the top 200 get to go. If people defer, then that keeps sliding down the list. So certainly want to get some times in that top 200 to qualify. Hazard FPV was at number 16 before we started racing last 2 weeks ago. And then a number of qualifiers have happened since then. And right now, I believe he's sitting in about 36 in the world. Still not a bad showing, folks. 36 in the world. We'll take that to the bank and cash it in. So it looks like we got all the goggles down. The thumbs are up. And just waiting on the tone. So the tone sounds, we have 4 quads up. Pop FPVs meandering about looking for that first gate. This is not as easy as it looks, folks, and It doesn't even look easy, so take that to the bank as well. It's just, this is some serious coordination. Whatever you're seeing out there takes a lot of skill and practice. There's nothing that just comes naturally to be able to get these kind of times. You got to put in the practice. Hazard FPV, a fast-looking line out there. He's through his first lap with a 15.385, better than what he's been doing, but still not where he wants to be. So he's going to want to keep picking up that pace. You can see how blistering that time has to be to get into that top 25. An external shot now as you see some of those quads going through the chicanes. And Pop FPV right in front of you going into the dirt, auguring right in. And he's upside down. Not a lot of motion there. We'll see if we can get back to him, if he can get that up into the air. Meanwhile, Hazard FPV back through the chicanes on into his next lap, 15.385 on that one. Foggy Minded FPV on lap 4. He's on pace for 6. So that's a fast race for him. He's doing quite well. FPV Slacker out there now. And Foggy Minded FPV went black and came back. So we'll see if he can get himself out into the air. As I was going to say, FPV Slacker into the chicanes right now as you see Hazard FPV launching by him at a terrific rate. And indeed, Foggy Minded FPV is back into the air as he comes around into the old spaghetti maze there. With 13 seconds left in this race, Hazard FPV hitting the split S and getting into trouble in the split S into the dirt. And 5 seconds, no need to resurrect that. He's got the laps behind him that he needs. That will not be his fastest lap time no matter what he does. The bell sounds, and it's FPV Slacker and Foggy Minded FPV out on the track, and FPV Slacker running into the gate and upside down. So you hear that. And Foggy Minded FPV crashing as well, but recovering nicely. Nice job. So these drones are very resilient. You see the abuse that these things take and keep on flying. It is amazing. So as FPV Slacker struggles to get his quad back into the air, Foggy Minded FPV will do a little victory lap past the flight line and land it gently in the landing space as FPV Slacker will take the walk of shame. So a good race. We'll see where Hazard FPV ends up on that one. He looked like he had some good times. I don't think it's going to be enough to push up that 44.454 he laid down 2 weeks ago. He was on fire on that race, and you'll see that perhaps we'll be able to broadcast that. That has been broadcast earlier on. So Hazard FPV at 46.837. Once again, that'll be a throwaway, a full 2 seconds slower than what he's used to there. He'll still pick up 10 points so far. There's still 2 rounds to go. And heat number 2, or there's 2 heats to go. So heat 2 will be FPV Drift, AK Drones, AK Honky, and Davrick FPV. Everybody, the 2 bottom guys picking up scores for the first time here, and the top 2 guys still looking to put down some scores in this race. AK Drones, a little bit disappointed on the last one. He's going to look to beat his 56.286 here. And it looks like everything's armed and ready to go. And we've got quads into the air waiting for the camera to switch out. There it is, as you see an FPV Drift camera there, almost like a chase quad there. For I'm not sure who was just ahead of him, but that was kind of a cool shot there as AK Drones gets into trouble again. I think that was the same place. And his quad is unresponsive. So he's got his goggles up and he's left the flight line. So he'll have 3 more rounds in which to get this thing going. And Davrick also with no, okay, Davrick is flying there. It's FPV Drift and Davrick and AK Honky out there on the race course. FPV Drift down on the ground now. So Davrick FPV pulling up some times there. And it sounds like somebody lost his battery. AK Honky, who's AK Honky, whose visual went dark, the battery went flying, according from the peanut gallery out there. So Daverick FPV and FPV Drift. Actually, FPV Drift on the ground. It's just Daverick FPV looking to beat that 209.569 with 32 seconds left on this race. He's into gate number 10 on to the split S. And he should be pretty comfortable amount of time to go on to lap number 3 as he makes his way through the chicanes. A little bit wide on that one, but still on through with 14 seconds to go. He's on to lap number 3. So gate number 3. And we go on into the spaghetti maze here as he turns around. The time expires. He does get to finish his lap. So as long as he can stay in the air and get through that timing gate, he will pick up another scoring round and maybe even some points for the season. We'll see how that goes as he goes through gate 10 and approaching the split S. He didn't like the look of it. He backs off, relines up. A smart move on his part. Rather do that, push it, than end up in the dirt. So in through the chicanes, it does look like he's flying confidently. He'll get through that start gate 35 seconds after the 2-minute bell. I don't think that's going to be faster than his previous one, but 2 in a row for Daverick FPV. Nice job out there. 2:09 is his best time, so that one a little bit slower. I think we'll see how his 3-lap average, three-lap average matches up. And FPV Drift has made his way back into the air. We weren't following him, but he did get back up into the air. Everyone's out there chasing down their quad, and he is done as well. So he's going to park his quad out in the landing area, and that will be the end of round number 3, heat 2. Daverick FPV posting a 2:27.637. Indeed, that won't be fast enough there, but right now he'll be in 3rd place points with one more group to go. Hazard FPV continuing his sweep. Foggy Mounted FPV just ahead of his son there with 8 points. And one more group to go. On the day right now, it looks like it's Hazard FPV is round 3 the fastest. And Daverick is round 1 time, obviously his fastest on that one. So there's your order as far as times as we have our next group out there at the start podium. And it looks like Rim has got his gear up. Everybody's got their gear up, making their way back. So there's your group number 3. Without Pink Princess, she's still down repairing that quad. Rim's still looking for his first 3 laps, as is FPV Maverick looking for his first 3 laps. So the big head-to-head, Mr. Geek and FPV Maverick, 2 of our faster guys out there this season and last. FPV Maverick looking to get some points and get up there near or above Mr. Geek's points. Now remember, on the day, the points don't matter. That's just for the season. It's going to be your best 3 time is what takes that trophy home. So we're going to keep tracking where guys are in relation to that trophy, as it looks like everybody's got their, well, Mr. Geek's still waiting to get his goggles down. I guess we're looking around for a scoring. Somebody to start the clock out there. A little bit of discussion going on as FPV Slacker making his way over the scoring table. Looks like there's nobody at their post over there. So he'll resume their responsibilities. We do have goggles down and thumbs up, and we're just about ready to race. Round 3, heat number 3, 2 quads up, 1 still on the podium, all 3 up now. So we got all 3 flying out there. Pink Princess did not start. And FPV Maverick immediately getting into trouble once again. You see a big cloud of dust pop up, and he's able to recover from this one. So he'll pick it up, dust it off, and go straight into another gate. So getting a little wide on his gates out there. He's going to keep working on getting that that quad lined up on the gates. There's no wind out there, so maybe he's subconsciously correcting for a crosswind or something like that out there. So now it looks like a nice confident line. He's got that all going as Mr. Geek is out there looking good, looking like he's got a good solid line going right there as he passes through the start gate. He's on pace for 5 laps right now with 104, 102, 101, 1 minute left in the race. Rim just trying to get that 3 laps behind him. He's going to kind of keep making his way through the course, and he is into the chicanes now. So if he can get himself back over there and get himself through the chicanes, he'll have a lap under his belt, and that in and of itself will be a pretty good accomplishment for him. It's not as easy as it looks, folks. So there it is, weaving through the chicanes and looking for that start gate with 35 seconds left to go. He won't get 3 laps, but he will get 1, it looks like, as FPV Maverick making his way into the descending spiral, and Mr. Geek coming through the chicanes to finish up yet another lap. Still on pace for 5. FPV Maverick also on pace for 5, about 2 seconds behind Mr. Geek. 15 seconds left in this race as FPV Maverick is into the descending spiral as Mr. Geek proceeds into the split S. So both of them in the split S and going into the chicanes. FPV Maverick gets in the trouble and heads into the ground. Mr. Geek steady as she goes as the bell sounds, finishes it off, and he'll park his quad. I think he might have been able to get 1 more lap. FPV Maverick goes ahead and picks himself up and puts himself on the landing spot, and it's just Rim out there who was still battling, I think, to get through that gate. We had so much action going on there, we weren't able to keep in mind what he had, but he's got his quad on the ground as well, and we are done with round number 3. So we'll see where everybody stacks up as soon as the computer does its magic, does the tabulation. We'll have that scoring for you there and see where those times line up. So FPV Maverick does indeed get 3 better laps in ahead of Mr. Geek there. 59.359, and FPV Maverick, that's not going to be faster than his first one. Mr. Geek, a 108.529, still not faster there either, but you'll see where the medals are right now. It's Hazard, FPV Maverick, and Foggy Minded, with Mr. Geek about 4 seconds behind Foggy Minded FPV. So those are the guys you're going to want to watch going into the final 2 rounds here to see where the battle is. It looks like Hazard FPV is going to have one of those times that probably won't be beat by anybody else, but you never know. This is why we race. Either of those guys can pick it up. With a 46, it's not outside of the realm of possibility for neither FPV Maverick, Mr. Geek, or Mr. Geek or AK Drone. So any one of those guys could maybe pull it off. So we're on to round number 4 right now. There's your times. Hazard FPV looking to beat that 46. Indeed, he wants to beat it 44.454. And Foggy Minded FPV wants to keep his podium spot right now, and he wants to beat a 101.781. Pop FPV, we're still got our rally cap on for him. 3 laps for him will be quite an accomplishment. So goggles are already down,
Thumbs up when you're ready.
and we've got thumbs up.
All right, I got 4 thumbs up. Let's race on the go.
Looks like we're just about ready to go here. So we've got quads up into the air. And right away, Foggy Minded FPV goes blank. I think we saw that before with him. He just lost his picture, and he's got a foggy camera there, but he does get it righted, and he might have enough time to get himself back into the air and dust it all off and have some good laps behind him there. Hazard FPV coming through the chicanes now, pinging his lap. The last one was 16, this one was 19, so significantly slower as we were watching Foggy Minded. We didn't get a look at what was going on out there. Pop FPV still in the air, so good for him. Keep that going, Pop FPV. We're all rooting for you out there. FPV Slacker still in the air as well. He's looking to beat his earlier time, and Pop FPV's struggling out there, seeing some ground and that looks like it. His squad is unresponsive at this point. Hazard FPV now getting through the split S. He's ahead of this one. His last lap of 18.299. Just not hitting it today. I think he's been playing with his quad and changing out software and equipment. FPV Slacker straight into the gate. I think that's the bottom half of the split S. So a hazard for hazard as he goes through that, and he makes it cleanly through. Foggy-minded FPV upside down on his quad picture as well. With 24 seconds left to go, that's going to hurt him because that's going to be right in the middle of all his laps, and this will be one that will count. So 2 struggling to get up. Hazard FPV now making his way through the chicanes with 12 seconds left to go. He'll say, yep, that's enough. I know I've got some good laps behind me. I'm going to park it, save those motors. So goggles up on him. Everybody else is in the ground. And that is the race. So Hazard FPV walking to the pickup area. Everybody else, the walk of shame as they go out to pick up their quad. Somewhere out there on the track, there's a little shot of the track and some of our gear there picking up the action for you in the foreground. Still a beautiful day, no bugs. Actually, I'll take that back. I'm in a trailer here and I'm not getting any bugs, but down there on the track, there is a serious problem with some bees out there, folks. Those yellow jackets are hitting it. If you got any food out there, look out. It's yellow jacket season, and I don't mean the drone kind. FPV Drift, AK Drones, AK Hunky, and Daverick FPV coming up. Round 4, heat number 2. We're looking at Daverick FPV, 2 in a row for him, finishing things. AK Drones really wanting to get on the timer here. 2:28.788 is what he's got so far in this race, but that's quite a ways off his mark. He's not going to be too happy with that coming in from the last one there. So he's looking for some vindication as AK Drones. He's got it in him, sub 1 minute, and that's definitely got you on a pretty elite list out there, 1 minute under. So we have some fast pilots out here at the Alaska Drone Racing League. Indeed, when you get a guy that's, you know, up there where Hazard is, chasing that guy's tail there, kind of improves everybody else's game. I mean, you got to keep up with the fast guys. It happens all over the place. So you get talent out there, and everyone else's talent improves at the same time. We've got 4 goggles down, meanwhile, on this group number 2 here of round, I believe it's 4. And the timer sounds. We've got quads in the air. Nice shot of a quad there in Daverick's picture as he goes through the gates. FPV Drift making his way around the track, looking to get into that spaghetti maze situation there. AK Drones picking up some time there as he's into the spaghetti maze now. Having a little bit of a problem with the graphics. It's covering up some of the times there, so we'll get that fixed for you there. Some technical difficulties, folks. We're out here in the middle of the Alaskan wilderness, so we're doing what we can to bring you the best show we possibly can. FPV Drift in third as he comes through the gate. It's AK Drones and AK Honky. Daverick is having a little bit more trouble on this run here as he's kind of cutting back through the course, finding his spot. And I'm not sure where he's going to be in going through gate number 2 there. So he's just completed a lap with 50 seconds left in this one. We've got FPV Drift on pace for 4, so he's got to be real happy with that. Hopefully he's going to have some pretty good times, and this may be one that goes into the books for him. This is looking very nice indeed as he's best time right now of a 2:53.313. So this is kind of an epic time for him, it looks like, as AK Drones just getting into trouble. Is going to watch him and see what was happening there. And boy, he doesn't, when he goes down, he's down. That he just hung up the goggles just right there. And Daverick now coming through the timing gate. That'll be 3 laps for him, so 3 in a row for him. With 9 seconds left to go, he gets a victory lap. Maybe he can pile on a little bit of a faster time on this one as AK Honky making his way through the course as well. He's on lap 2. FPV Drift in first place on this one. His fastest lap, 13.934. So something's wrong there. That may explain why we got some big times there. The fastest lap of 13.934 is superhuman. In fact, that's what we were looking for Hazard FPV to start showing some times like that to get himself into that top 25 list. And as much as we like FPV Drift to be in that list, that's not been his flying style. As you can see, it's a little bit slower than Hazard FPVs. So we'll have to see where that extra lap came in. But for now, this is the official time for him. Maybe I missed something. Maybe he had a heck of a lap out there, but now he's into the dirt as he comes into the chicanes. He's 52 seconds in the back here. Coming through the chicanes on into the starting gate at the end of his last lap, which would be, I believe, his fifth lap, which is quite a big one there. And then off into the landing area, see if we can see any quads that have hit the mark, and we cut away from that right before that. He's done. Everybody else is on the ground, and that's the end of 4.2. So we'll see where that all stacks up with one more group left to go here in round 4. We'll see where everybody is. We're checking some times. We'll see what where FPV Drift stacks up on this one. That's going to be a boost for him. In fact, that might push some guys down the list as well. That was a pretty fast time, I think. With that 13-second lap, or just under 14, that's going to be a heck of a lap. So waiting for that scoring computer to do its tabulation. We got a comment from Josh Erickson. That's Foggy Minded FPV. So cool to see his boy racing. Yes, it is. Davrick is doing a heck of a job out there. We're proud of him as well. We'll take your comments as you send them in here, folks, as it comes live. We are live right now on the rebroadcast of the Global Qualifier number 2 out there from the Alaska Drone Racing League's Jim Creek RC Park. This, folks, is a beautiful track. If you get up above the tree line, which we're not really supposed to do, but if you get up there and point up a little bit to the north, you'll see the Knik Glacier. Just to the right is Pioneer Peak. Mountains all around us. It's a beautiful spot. So here's your Group 3, Mr. Geek FPV, FPV Maverick, Pink Princess, and Rim. So FPV Maverick pulling up a fast time on that last one, bumping Mr. Geek back down in the rankings there for the day. So 3 fast laps for FPV Maverick, a little less consistency for him this year. He was very fast last year. He's very fast this year. Let's take no bones about it, but the consistency he's having a little bit of trouble with. So we'll see if Mr. Geek and FPV Maverick, this will be the race against these two guys, and these guys are in contention for a trophy out here. So watch the head-to-head matchup here as Rim is also out on the track trying to lay down his 3 laps. FPV Maverick right away in trouble. That's been the rule of the day. His goggles are already up. He knows it's over on that. So Mr. Geek, not quite on a solo show. We got Rim out there on the track as well, but Mr. Geek owns his own podium, and he's in the dirt as well, but he's got to go ahead and get it back up into the air. So this will be a throwaway lap with 1:18 left. He's scoring about 18, maybe 17 seconds laps, so he's got quite a few laps in him. This can be a throwaway, and he can get back up on that horse. Rim making his way through the split S, having a little bit of trouble there. He's down in the dirt as you see Mr. Geek go whipping by into the chicanes. And he's now got some confident lines going there. Gate number 3 into the spaghetti maze. So good solid lines from Mr. Geek. Clean hits on those gates. Nice shallow turns through the slaloms there. And that one a 14, never mind, it's a 2:14.667. That's his pace. That's because of his earlier lap there was a little bit sloppy. But this one here, as Mr. Geek is now another solo performance for him. Mr. Geek, all eyes are on you as you proceed through the course. And a little trouble in the chicanes there. I'm not sure, he must have clipped one of those poles. And I guess he ran out of battery. So a battery problem out there for Mr. Geek. And that's going to leave him short. So that may put FPV Drift on the leaderboard on this one. Let's see where it comes up. Hazard FPV continuing his sweep. FPV Maverick after round 4, picking up 8 points. He's in 3rd place there. Mr. Geek still pulls off 3 laps at a 1:08. So there's where we stack up on the day. Foggy Minded and Mr. Geek separated by 4 points for that 3rd place trophy. FPV Maverick still solidly in there, but look down that list. AK Drones, do not count him out. 228 is not representative of what he does out there. In fact, last 2 weeks ago, AK Drones pulled off a 56-286, which would be enough to put him on a silver trophy. So let's keep an eye on him as well as we get up further out into this race, as we see the group number 1 making their way back to the flight line here. On to round 5 we go. This is the last race for this group right here. FPV, Slacker, Hazard FPV, Foggy Minded, and Pop FPV. So Foggy Minded wanting to improve his time of 1:04 here to get himself further up the ladder on into the leaderboard there. Hazard FPV already with a 46. He's just going to look for a faster time than what he laid down. He needs to beat that by a little over 2 seconds to beat his Global Qualifier 1 time. So he's out there all by himself. If anybody can challenge him, we'll look to FPV Maverick, FPV Drones, or Mr. Geek, potentially to put some heat on him for the 1st place trophy. But he's swept everything all year. We do expect Hazard FPV to continue to do that. In fact, he's only lost or not finished in 1 race. He crashed out earlier and wasn't able to finish 3 laps earlier this season. I think it was the 2nd or maybe 3rd race of the season. I do believe it was the 2nd or 3rd race, yes, because he'd already swept, he'd already gotten 100 points on the season. That's 50 points per race. If you get 10 points per round there. Look at the mountains. The camera just got away from us there. As you can see, the mountains overlooking this track. We tried to give you a shot. The camera decided to have a mind of its own as Pop FPV finishes placing his quad. You see he's making his way back to the flight line here. And he is at the flight line. He's just not in the chair he's supposed to be in. So race director Wes Frymouth will get him over to the right chair just so we get the right picture lining up with the right pilot on this broadcast. Folks, we're thinking of you out there, and so is race director Wes Frymouth. So he's got thumbs up, and we're waiting for a tone. 3 quads instantly into the air as the tone sounds. FPV Slacker, Hazard FPV, and Pop FPV tearing up the course out there. Pop FPV already in trouble as he is in the dirt upside down and crooked, as is Hazard FPV and Slacker, both at the same time. I think they collided. I think maybe, I'm not sure if they're in the same place, but it sounded like a drone collision out there. They both went down at the same time, so I think there might have been a bit of a collision. And folks, it's kind of a wonder that doesn't happen more often out there. So Hazard FPV will throw this lap away. He's got himself picked up, dusted off, and back off into the air. FPV Slacker not so lucky on the outcome of this collision. He's now got himself right side up, so we'll see if he can get himself back up into the air as Hazard FPV tears up the course out there, gumming through the descending spiral and into the split S. On pace for 6. He was a bit slower on that first lap there. This lap now through the gates with 54 seconds left to go. FPV Slacker has dusted himself off as well, and he'll make his way through the course. Looking to get that 3rd lap in for him. He'll need to come in with less than 25 seconds tallied after the clock expires to beat his best time, as Hazard FPV still not the sharpest lines for him. In fact, right there in the descending spiral, he crashes into flag number 8. A quick recovery for him. That's good. But that's going to be one of his money laps there, as that's going to be a 5-lap average. That was a 19.780. Not overly fast for him. On this track here, a 15.856. His 3rd lap was the fastest. Still not where he wants him to be, though, and he's upside down and in the dirt. He's crashed it, and with 1 second left to go, may as well park it because it's not going to be his fastest lap. But just for posterity, What the heck? Hazard finish up that lap. In fact, it's not very often you see FPV Slacker finishing a race before Hazard FPV. Indeed, you did see that. FPV Slacker lands in the landing pad ahead of Hazard FPV. So, you know, strange things going on out there today, folks. Strange things indeed.
Race is completed.
So the race is finished. Hazard FPV, the only one, unfortunately, on that one to pick up 3 laps. That's not going to be enough for him. He'll go home not having beat his qualifier one time, but he will pick up 50 points as long as that holds for him. Next, we see FPV Maverick, Foggy Minded, and Mr. Geek in the foot race out there for the medals. And AK Drones still the race. We'll see if he can't sneak himself suddenly up onto that list. He's had a tough day today. He has finished a race, but not in the top 4 you need to get any kind of a points. So Group 2 making their way back to the start line as Davrick, AK Drones, and AK Honky make their place. FPV Drift now getting seated there. 156.066 is what's been recorded for him on that last one. So that's official right now. We'll kind of keep an eye on that to see where it ends up. 8K Drones again looking to see if he can sneak up into the podium. And of course, Davrick FPV looking to increase his time as well as the tone sounds. And we have quads into the air. 4 good pictures, 4 in flight. AK Honky also looking to maybe get some season points. A season finish isn't in the cards for him, but posterity-wise, he wants to see that. And hey, why don't we go ahead and get some times as well onto the global leaderboards. So we'll keep an eye on him over there. Is AK Drones. That's the guy we're going to look for to be the sneaky guy to get into the podium spot from the back door. He's on his last race of the day. So we want to see some times that'll put him sub-minute. So what would that be? About 20-second laps or better. So here he comes around on this one. First one to 24, the second one to 20:55. Still not quite what he needs to be. And he's on the ground. He's got a Betaflight message on his screen. And we'll see if he can't get that back up in the air. FPV Drift on the ground, AK Honky on the ground. We see a lot of dirt in our screens right now, folks. AK Honky's trying to get it back in the air, as is AK Drones with 46 left. AK Drones is going to be hard-pressed to pull off a time of day. Indeed, that's it for him. He's going to pull up his goggles and walk off the flight line. FPV Drift looks like he's working things. I don't see a lot of motion out there, but AK Honky furiously trying to get that drone back up into the air. They'll have 1 minute after the clock expires to put it up into the air, and I think AK Honky is on his 3rd lap, which is why he's trying to do that. AK Drones was on a furious lap for pace for 5. FPV Drift, I don't believe, has finished a lap. With 10 seconds left to go on this race, we'll have the first 8 in the books here for the qualifier number 2. The chime will now sound. And they do have 1 minute to get in the air. Looks like AK Honky's hung up his goggles. FPV Drift had a bit of a breakthrough there. He's going to go ahead and flip his quad over. He's going to try it. And to see if he can finish his 3rd lap, he'll at least potentially get some points out of this. And that's where he crashed. That's why the determination, folks, just after the split S, all he needs to do is make his way through the chicanes.
FPV Drift and 3rd FPV Drift done.
And it, for some reason, pinged him before he got there. So we got too much sensitivity maybe on that timer out there. And FPV Drift lands in the landing zone. So it's picked him up a bit early. We'll see what that is. There's going to be no threat to the leaders on that, as that was definitely a sub 2 minute race. But we'll see if we can get some scores up before we go into the final one there. Hazard FPV. So I guess FPV Drift did not get 3 laps. That was only 2. So Hazard FPV so far in round 5, the only one to pick up any times. So 10 points for him We'll put a 50-point total on there. FPV Maverick, Foggy Minded, AK Drones out of it now. So in group number 3, it's FPV Maverick we're looking for. And so FPV Maverick and Mr. Geek FPV are the two that we're looking for on this one. The Hazard and Foggy Minded locked in. There's our mountains that we were looking for. This time our camera behaving a little bit better. The snow not quite gone from the higher reaches of Pioneer Peak. That will probably melt before the end of the summer. It's been a spectacularly hot one up here in Alaska. We had some record-breaking heat as measured down at the airport in Anchorage there, Ted Stevens International. I believe we got up to 90, somewhere around the 90-degree mark. I can't remember the exact temperature, but definitely record-breaking summer this year. It's been nothing but hot, totally unseasonable for this part of the world. We've had a few fires, major wildfires around the Anchorage area. The smoke has cleared from the sky. If you look at some of our earlier broadcasts, you'll see that there is a lot of smoke in the air. Also uncharacteristic of Anchorage, we have some of the cleanest air in the country, being way up here in the Alaska region. So there's Mr. Geek and FPV Maverick at the flight line. Pink Prince is out, and we're waiting for Rim to take his seat at the flight line as well. So right now, Mr. Geek fighting from the outside. He's going to want to beat that 108 time. I think he needs to beat a 104 is what Foggy Minded has put down out there. And FPV Maverick already in the winner's circle, and he can only improve his time. And I don't believe that will knock anybody down. I think that was a second place time for him. So looks like only 2 pilots in this one. It'll be a one-on-one here. And this is for some marbles, folks. So Mr. Geek and FPV Maverick, it's Mr. Geek's race to be the spoiler out there. He's going to need to complete 3 pretty fast laps. We'll keep an eye on him as FPV Maverick also wanting to stay in the air, improve some of his points on the season because it is a point race out there as well. FPV Maverick looks like he's going to get through the chicanes first, and he'll post a time of 23 seconds in the first lap. Fairly slow, but Mr. Geek, 23.554. Coming in ahead of FPV Maverick. I'm not sure why that time is different. And FPV Maverick upside down, goggles up. Once again, it's the Mr. Geek FPV show. And this is for all the marbles. Mr. Geek needing to come in with a fast time. Beating 108. We'll put him on the podium right now. 108. He's going to need definitely near the 20-second mark to do that. Maybe 21 seconds or 22 seconds. We'll pull that one off for him. So some clean lines for him. Coming into the spaghetti maze. His fastest lap now, 21.041. That's his second lap. His last lap of 21.411. So it's actually looking like he may be on track for this thing with 26 seconds left. He's got 2 more laps under his belt, although he goes a bit wide on that. That'll cost him. So a little bit of adrenaline out there, some nerves for Mr. Geek. He's going to want to really bring it home in these last 2 laps. Nice, clean split S on that one. A beautiful execution of that one, and down through the gate, only 1 bobble out there. That didn't cost him too badly. 21.021, and the clock expires. This will be his last lap, indeed the last quad of the day. Onto the track as Mr. Geek tries to claw his way into 3rd place out there. A 21-second lap will definitely do it, folks. Let's see what he ends up with as he pulls through the chicanes and onto the end of their 6th lap. Total there of 2:16. I can't do the math in my head. It's up to the scoring computer. Mr. Geek looks like he's pretty happy with that. FPV Maverick already laying down 3 laps just out of the middle of the, just carved out 3 laps there in the middle there. He didn't stay upright. I don't think he finished a race, but he did carve out 3 very fast laps, and really that's all you need to do out here in the season. So Foggy Minded nervously awaiting the results as well, as it looks like Mr. Geek is very close to Foggy Minded's times there. to get down to the end of the race. The race computer finally tabulating scores, and there it is, folks. Mr. Geek FPV, a 103.292, and there's the results. Edging out Foggy Minded. Sorry, buddy. You gave it your best shot, down by 1.2 seconds. It's Mr. Geek taking home the bronze, FPV Maverick with the silver, Hazard FPV once again with the gold trophy. 46.837 seconds, 59.539, and 103.929. Not the best times today, but let's take a look at the season for these guys. You'll see the top 5 got their best times at Global Qualifier number 1. There's that 44.454 for Hazard FPV. And it looks like we're just about ready to present the trophies. Let's send it off to Wes Frymouth for the interview.
Okay, final results for our second qualifier race for Alaska Drone Racing League. And our number 1 winner for today is Hazard FPV. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
What was your fastest lap, do you know, today?
Ooh, I think it was a 15.4, maybe 14s. I don't know exactly. I'm running on new gear, so it's a little bit changing it up. Not really trying to best my old time with 44. So I don't know. It is what it is. Yeah, I've been messing with a lot of my gear, so.
Well, you definitely were fast today. You were kicking up some of the dust on the field, and your final results for the day is 46.837. That's a pretty good run.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and second place winner for our second qualifier for the year is Billy FPV Maverick. Congratulations on a second place win.
Thank you.
And do you know what your fastest lap was today?
I believe it was an 18-second lap. I'm not sure, though.
18-second. I can only wish. No, you did very well. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and last but not least is our third place winner for our second qualifier is for Mr. Geek. He got third place. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
And I'm showing that you got a 1.03.292 today. Is that your fastest lap?
Actually, no, I believe last week I got like a 57 something. So I was hoping to beat that this week, but the trophy's nice.
Trophy is nice. Well, congratulations. You did a good job.
Thank you.